There are so many cryptos in the top 100 that are underrated, in my opinion. And in this video, I'm going to give you 10 cryptos in the top 100 that I think are super underrated. Now, here's the thing. They're already in the top 100, so we know that they've solidified themselves as top cryptos, considering that there are nearly 30,000 different cryptocurrencies. If you find yourself in the top 100, you're doing something right. But when we look at these 10 in particular, I feel like they don't get the credit that they deserve, and I think they all have a really strong use case and a really strong chance to perform really well in the next bull run. Now, nothing is guaranteed. Of course, none of this is financial advice, but I'm heavily invested in a lot of the top 100 altcoins, and I actually have a position in all 10 of these different cryptos. And I try to spread out a lot of my funds into these altcoins, trying not to go too far into just one of them, right? Now, the backbone of my portfolio, as I've always mentioned, is Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? That alone, just those two cryptos, makes up 60% of all of crypto, right? So that just makes sense to mitigate risk. We're already investing in a very speculative asset class like crypto, right? So to mitigate that risk, I want most of my funds, most of my portfolio in Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? That make up 60%. But after that, things get really interesting because this is where the big gains are had. And you don't have to go all in, right? A lot of people make this mistake. They go all in on one or two of these small altcoins. If one of those fails, which is, it can happen, now you're searching for answers, and now you probably have a sour taste in your mouth, and you're leaving crypto, and you're saying, no, that's not for me, right? So let's dive in, because number one is HBAR, and this is one that I've really come around to recently. I've always liked HBAR. Now, here's the thing. It's ranked number 34, market cap here of $1.6 billion. Hedera is very interesting. It uses a very unique technology called hash graphs rather than blockchain. And what this does is it allows them to potentially be more scalable and be very cheap in terms of the transaction costs, which is going to be very, very big when we talk about, different protocols scaling once we reach mass adoption. We're only at 5% adoption right now, but what happens when more and more people are using blockchain? We need it to be scalable and we need it to be cheap. And I think Hedera is very underrated in these two categories. And again, it's ranked number 34, so people certainly know about it, but I still think it doesn't get talked about enough. If you're interested in learning more about HBAR, I've got some in-depth videos on the channel about HBAR. You could check that out. It's under a playlist right here on the channel. By the way, subscribe here if you haven't already, because I've went into detail on all of these different cryptos at different times. Number two is Algorand. This is ranked number 43. Their market cap just over $1 billion. A couple reasons, quick reasons why I like Algorand. Number one, their CEO is super, super smart from MIT, and he's very, very well connected in the blockchain industry, very tight with Cardano, Charles Hoskinson. I'm a big believer in him as well. And in a lot of ways, Algorand and Cardano are partnered up. Algorand is all about speed, and that is going to be something else to watch for, especially when we reach mass adoption. The speed of the network. Algorand is filling in some of those gaps that Ethereum has yet to figure out. What happened with Ethereum is it got so big so fast that they had to give up something, and they gave up that speed. Also, they gave up cost, right? Because there's just so many people on here on the Ethereum network. But Algorand's certainly one to watch. By the way, they were a huge sponsor at the previous FIFA World Cup, gaining them a ton of exposure. Next up is Polygon. Now, they're in the top 10. They're ranked number 10. I first started talking about Polygon when it was ranked in the high 50s, way back in 2021. I loved what I saw when I started doing my research on Polygon in terms of what they were trying to do with big brands. Now, a lot has happened from then until now, and that's why they've jumped up nearly 45 spots, and they find themselves in the top 10 because Polygon has now partnered with major, major corporations like Starbucks, like Mercedes-Benz, like Disney, like DraftKings, tons of huge, huge corporations. Polygon seems to be the best fit to meet different companies right now where they are and get them into blockchain and NFTs. Starbucks is doing a first-of-its-kind rewards program on the blockchain through NFTs using Polygon network. So Matic, very tied to Ethereum as well. Love Polygon, especially at these price points under $1, sitting at 88 cents right now. Now, Avalanche, sitting in at number 15. number 15 on the big board and right around $15 here. This had a huge run up in the previous bull cycle, and I think it's going to have an even bigger run in the next one. Avalanche is not sexy, right? It's not something that, has a huge retail demand right now. It's very institutional. It's very kind of, boring, if you will. But sometimes the best plays are the boring plays, right? Not the flashy ones. Avalanche is doing some really interesting things too. They are slowly but surely getting into fractionalized real estate on the blockchain. So what happens is a lot of people can't get into the real estate market because they don't have the capital. It takes a lot of money up front to get into real estate. But what if you can own fractionalized pieces? Well, the blockchain enables this to happen really easily. Avalanche is doing this. Funny story, I was actually sitting at a bar one time in Florida, and I had a Bitcoin hat on. And some guy started talking to me because, anytime you wear a Bitcoin hat, if anybody's into crypto, they'll start a conversation, which is kind of cool. And he said, "Do you know about Avalanche?" I said, "Yeah, I know a little bit about it. I've done some research on it and what have you." He said, "Well, yeah, I work for a company and we're using the Avalanche blockchain to fractionalize real estate." So it's happening right now in the United States, just scratching the surface. But I think this could be a very, very big play. Oh, and by the way, Avalanche just partnered with Amazon. Small little company, Amazon. So this is certainly one to watch. Next up, Chainlink, ranked number 21. They're sitting way down from their current all-time highs, sitting here at $6.33. Chainlink has been a household name in the cryptocurrency market for a decade. They have just solidified themselves as the place that people go for oracles. Basically, here's the easy way to think about it. Chainlink, kind of like the name says, links different blockchains together and makes and allows blockchains to interact with one another very easily. So Chainlink is an infrastructure play. Again, not very sexy, but it's not going anywhere. It's ranked number 21. I think it's undervalued right now because a lot of the money's going to the sexy, flashy plays, where eventually, once things kind of shake out, I think a lot more capital will flow into Chainlink once people understand how important it is. Next up is Quant. Ranked number 39, had a huge bull run out of nowhere last year. That's because there was some huge rumors that governments are looking to Quant to utilize their technology. And this is one of those ISO 2022 plays that are already compliant with a lot of the big governments and the financial systems. Quant, again, not very sexy, but it could be used on an enterprise and government scale, and a lot of people are gearing up for that next big run for Quant. Now, next up is Render. I've recently just talked about this one. They're in the top 50. They're ranked number 47. They're in the metaverse area, also the AI sector. Render token is rumored now to potentially be partnering up with Apple. Apple is coming out with their new VR and AR headset. That's virtual reality and augmented reality. Again, virtual reality is when you completely immerse yourself into a whole new world. Augmented reality is kind of like Pokemon Go, where they take the real world and they overlay digital elements on top of it. Apple, of course, trying to do huge things in this area, and they will. They're the largest, they're the largest company by market cap in the entire stock market. Whoever they partner with in the crypto world, which it's going to happen, it's going to be big. And Render has been rumored to be partnering up with them. We're going to find out actually really, really soon if that comes to fruition. Regardless, Render token, I think, is a huge, big player, and it's exactly what it says in the name. They are rendering the metaverse for big companies and what have you. So don't be surprised if they work with Apple and Facebook and some of these huge corporations to help them where they need. Stacks. This is next up. Stacks is number 8 here on the list. And if you guys are getting some value out of this video, I know this is kind of a long one. If you're getting some value, make sure you let me know by hitting that like button down there, subscribing if you haven't already. Stacks, STX. Okay, so this is bringing smart contracts to Bitcoin. This has changed the game for Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a proof-of-work system. It's not like Ethereum. That's proof of stake. And Stacks is allowing something to happen on Bitcoin. Again, bringing smart contracts that have never been able to happen. They're ranked number 56. Anything this tied to Bitcoin, I love it because we know Bitcoin's not going anywhere anytime soon. Next up is Chiliz. Now, this is an interesting play, very different play. It's right under 10 cents right now. And you can see some of these market caps sitting just under $1 billion, like Render token, Stacks, and now Chiliz sitting at about 700 million. I think there's tremendous upside here. But Chiliz is in the area of fan tokens. Now, some may say, really? Like, what's going on here? Think about this. There are tons and tons of sports teams that have fan loyalty rewards programs, right? A lot of that stuff is going to be redesigned and reimagined for the blockchain. When we really think about this, I mean, you got to think about every industry, every single thing needs to be redesigned for the blockchain just because it's better. It's more suitable, it's more scalable, it's more secure, everything. And this includes fan loyalty systems, right? So with Chiliz, they've already partnered with massive, massive leagues like the Premier League, the NBA. This platform, Socios, which I believe had just recently partnered with the Portland Trail Blazers of the NBA, this platform is set to scale, I think, immensely. The interest in sports is only growing, right? It's not going away, and I think this is going to be very, very fascinating and an interesting sector to watch. They're already ranked in the top 100, ranked number 64. This one definitely not talked about enough. And last but not least, it's another AI crypto, and this is the second one in this top 10, Render and now SingularityNET. SingularityNET is in the area of big data. Big data. And they just recently partnered with Cardano to help in their efforts. They're ranked number 98 right now, just inside the top 100. Rather small market cap compared to some of these other ones at 330 million, but I think it has tremendous upside as well. That is AGIX in the area of AI and big data. That is your top 10 list, and I mentioned it here on Twitter as well. Make sure you guys are following me there. It's at Z_Humphries there on Twitter. Would definitely like for you guys to come over there as well. We're always, putting out different information there that you may not see here on YouTube. So, again, if you got some value here, let me know down below, and drop some of the cryptos that you like, because this is just 10 that I like as we get ready for that next bull run. But there are a lot more that will provide a lot of gains as well. Appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for stopping back. And if it's your first time here, hopefully you hit the subscribe button. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.